The Waipara Valley wine region stretches out across North Canterbury, and it's making a name for itself as a bit of a rising star, particularly where aromatic whites and Pinot Noirs are concerned. An easy 40-minute ride north of Christchurch lands you squarely on the doorstep of GreyStone Wines, which is a very highly awarded company that's owned and operated by some very talented terrestrials. And here's one of them. Owner Bruce Thomas is very much at home in this landscape. In fact, he's borderline obsessive about the area and the remarkable wines they produce. I'm pleased to see you brought some liquid refreshment along, Bruce. In addition to being clearly a fanatical mountain biker, you're a skier, yes. You're a trout fisherman, yes. General all-round outdoorsman, and it's so easy to see when you look out at what we've got behind us. It's easy to see why you're wowed by the landscape here, but why did you do this? Why wine?
Well, the family had always been interested in wine, and my brother had some investments in wine in Australia, and we just sort of got talking one day, and one thing led to another, and then we were in too deep, really. So, and this is the result. The
whole limestone aspect of this wine region here really adds to this incredible minerality. But I mean, it permeates through all the wines.
It does,
because you've pretty much got everything planted here, haven't you?
We have, yeah, we've got 7 varieties here.
7?
Yeah.
So what have you brought with you? This is one that you're quite fond of, isn't it?
Very fond of this wine. This is the GreyStone 2011 Riesling. So we do 4 Rieslings, and this one is just the expression of the vineyard.
Beautiful
colour,
colour,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's like kind of white diamond. It just kind of sparkles in the glass, doesn't it?
Great colour, yes. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's things like feijoa and lime.
We always get quite a lime citrus character in our Rieslings. Yeah.
And there's
a real feature.
And that minerality, that stony kind of character is definitely in there.
As they get older, we get more of that. Yeah.
As they get older.
Yeah. This is 2011, so
brand new,
still
just
young.
A puppy.
Yep.
And it's won a swag of awards, hasn't it?
Yes. Won a 5 stars in the Wine Estate competition.
In the Wine Estate competition?
Yep.
And a couple of your other Rieslings
got
5 stars as well, didn't they?
Yep. So 3 out of 3.
Amazing.
Happy about that.
And you're certified sustainable here yet, or you're part of the sustainability movement in New Zealand?
This GreyStone, we're part of Sustainable Wines. Is
it an easy fit with what you're doing?
Yeah, it works perfectly. Yeah, we would do it anyway. That's what it comes down to. And then over at Muddy Water, of course, we're certified organic. Yeah, so that's one step further, if you like.
So Muddy Water is just across the valley to the right?
Yes, just down at the bottom of the hill.
So you're practically neighbours, aren't you?
Oh, we are, yes. And when Muddy Water came up for sale, winery, of course, and a winery with a lot more capacity than the vines over there. So exactly the opposite way around from where we were.
Right.
In a good fit.
So they had a small vineyard but nice big winery. You had great big vineyard,
and
no winery.
So put the two together and it worked.
And away you go.
Yeah.
So any major challenges when you tried to merge the two? Or?
Only the bank.
Oh, the bank.
But yeah, other than that, no. Look, the merger and logistics worked really well.
Cheers, well done.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Nice job.
Yes.
Another lover of the land is GreyStone's viticulturalist Nick Gill, an Aussie import and an avid hunter-gatherer who was brought on board at the very beginning to set up GreyStone's vineyards. Nice bike, Nick. Quite comfy.
Yeah. No, we use it a lot, getting around through the vineyard, checking everything at this time of year.
And you and your wife Ange came over to New Zealand from South Australia, wasn't it?
Yeah, we moved here from the Barossa Valley, so looking after a really large, mostly dry-grown vineyard with the hot climate varieties, so Shiraz and Grenache, Mourvedre or Mataro, and had only worked in cool climate a couple of times before, and this opportunity came up, and it was just a challenge that I really wanted to take on, and also we were just at the stage of starting a family, and I know there's pretty much a tidal wave of people moving to Australia, but New Zealand's got a lot of great things going for it, and it's just a wonderful place to live and work and also raise a family. some days I think looking after 100 acres here in Waipara is more challenging than the 1,500 acres I used to look after in the Barossa.
Is that right?
Yeah, it really takes it to another level. You have to have much more attention to detail.
Out of the GreyStone wines, what's your kind of favourite to drink? What styles do you love?
Probably, I love the Riesling, because moving here, just being able to work with the full spectrum from bone dry right through until just on Tuesday this week we did our last botrytis pick.
Okay, yeah.
And broke the 50 bricks barrier, so I think it's about 54 bricks at the moment. 50
bricks barrier, people.
So
it's a big barrier to break, apparently.
Yeah.
But we're in the Pinot vineyard for GreyStone at the moment, and I noticed that there's still a few little bunches, some scraggly fruit left on the vines. Why is that?
So these guys here have got too much shrivel, and with our Pinot Noir, we're trying to make a Pinot Noir that's really elegant and poised and balanced and tastes like what we think the variety should be. So we try to keep things like shriveled grapes that are going to create porty characters and high alcohols. We keep them out.
So it must be quite nice working in a vineyard now where you can walk along and there's nothing's going to leap out and sting you, bite you, poison you.
No, that's right,
like in South Australia.
I like the saying here though, the animals don't kill you, the weather does. Like, it took me about 2 years to get used to the weather.
Oh, it's a hard job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now it's time to meet Nick's counterpart over at Muddy Water. Someone once told me that the bigger the potholes in the driveway, the better the wine is going to be at the end of it. I've got a feeling after this I'm in for a treat. Miranda, it's such a gorgeous vineyard that you work in, isn't it?
It is. It's a lovely place to work.
So what's your background?
I grew up in Christchurch and just always had a love of plants. So when I left school, I went to Lorkin University and studied viticulture.
So everything's organic here at Muddy Water. I mean, it can't be the easiest way to manage a vineyard, or is it? I always think it's going to be hard.
It's getting easier every year. Yep, the longer I've been here, the more I understand the vineyard and what we need to do. It makes you think a little bit more about what you're doing day to day.
You guys are part of the, is it the Waipara or Greening Waipara initiative?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
And so that's kind of a restoration
It is, so we've got
project?
Some native plantings down below us and in little pockets around the vineyard to provide habitats for, well, for the native plants obviously, and then also for native insects and things like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So Miranda, this is one of 3 Pinot Noir that you do here at Muddy Water.
Yes, it is.
And it's called Slow Hand, which is kind of an unusual name. Do you want to tell me about it?
It just follows a bit of a blues theme with Muddy Water and...
Because his nickname was Slow Hand, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric Clapton, yes. And so it's tended by slow hands because it's a little bit longer in barrel, a lot of work in the vineyard.
So there's a lot of patience involved. It smells amazingly spicy, and there's kind of a an earthy, almost mushroomy character to it.
Yeah.
Is it one of your favourites? I mean, do you drink this regularly?
I do, yes. I'm lucky enough to be able to drink this regularly. Yes, yeah. It's from our oldest block of vines that you can see behind us.
Oh,
and they're about 20 years old, and they're all on their own roots, so the wine's a lot more complex.
It's a bit like a moody teenager, really. It's kind of deep and broody, and it's not all up front. And
No, that's the style of Pinot that we make at Muddy Waters. It's definitely more of a savoury style. Reflects our site and our region.
It is absolutely fantastic, but you don't make much of it, do you?
No, and we only make it in certain years, so
Okay.
it's not something that we pump out every year. It's only if the vintage is right.
What would you eat with this wine?
Some sort of delicious meat. That's a really awful answer.
Here's to delicious meat. Good girl.
Yes.
Keep it simple. I love it. Cheers. Dominic Maxwell is the winemaker for both GreyStone and Muddy Water, and he was awarded New Zealand Winemaker of the Year at the Wine State Magazine Awards in 2011. What's in here? Because I tell you what, the smells in this winery, Dom, are amazing.
Yeah, well this is an example of what you're smelling. This is organic Pinot Noir towards the end of fermentation.
Wow, look at it all. Can I just kind of grab? And it's warm.
It's still really warm.
Oh, you know, on a frosty morning, you could just come along and stick your hands in the skins and warm up, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can still see it bubbling away.
Oh, it is too?
Yeah, yeah. So it's still finishing off fermentation and the lovely aromas, which we're trapping by keeping that lid on at this stage.
So I noticed that you've got 3 of your Rieslings, got 5 stars recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Good news.
I think Riesling's it's a massive part of our story, our vineyard. So I think last year we made 5 Rieslings just under the GreyStone brand, and we made another 2 for Muddy Water. So that's 7 Rieslings just for our own brand. So
how do you do it? How does it work to make sure that you keep the rigorous requirements of organic winemaking in a winery that's also making wine for someone that's not organic?
If we can, we process Muddy Water fruit first.
Yep.
Early in the morning, and then things are, you know, just given a light rinse before conventional fruit comes in.
What's next? Have you got anything new being planted?
Well, we're always tasting new varieties, and varieties that are not so new that we think could potentially go well here. There's still lots of plantable land on the beautiful hill slopes, and so it's prime land for great grape growing. And the other thing that we're going to be doing is improving the wines we've already got. GreyStone Vineyard's still pretty young, so we've felt we really haven't had an opportunity to release reserve Pinot Chardonnay. 2011 hopefully will be the first vintage we'll be able to do that. And also new reserve wines for Muddy Water as well.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So here we are, we've been talking about Riesling, we've been talking about Pinot Noir, but one wine in the GreyStone stable gets me every time, and it's the GreyStone Gewürztraminer. When I'm poured a glass of this wine, I just can't wait to get my nose into that lychee and ginger and spices and tropical fruit. Is it easy to make, Dom?
We choose to do a few extra things, so we hand pick it, which is relatively straightforward. You know what you're after in the vineyard. We bring it into the winery and we foot crush it.
You foot crush this?
Yeah. So we do it by with bare feet.
Yeah, traditional
no
method.
boots, we're looking to extract the flavours around the skins, which are just incredible. There's a barrel fermentation component as well, so techniques along the way.
Because I really do. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine. Well done. Good
Cheers.
job.
Thanks.
Frenchman Sylvain is one of the assistant winemakers here, and he's prepared a veritable banquet for our dinner with slow roasted local lamb, fresh garden salads and homemade chicken liver pate, all of which makes food and wine matching magic with the GreyStone and Muddy Water Pinots. Of course you eat like this every day, don't you, Dom?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the standard smoker at Muddy Water,
This is.
You want to be here for dinner?
Thank you so much for inviting me along to this wonderful little marriage of 2 wineries producing gorgeous wine and a sensational Frenchman who cooks gorgeous food.
It does, doesn't it?
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Do it properly. Cheers, baby.